fellow Trek Chatters, I'm Pit Trekkie, and welcome to another episode of Pittsburgh's Trek Chat. Well, as of today, it is Monday, February 13th, which means one specific thing in the Trek fandom. The third season premiere of Star Trek Picard is due to arrive in just 3 days on Paramount+. And I'll tell you what, I think most of the Star Trek fandom at this point is really looking forward to this season of Picard. Sadly, it's the last season of the show, but the fact that we're getting a big Next Generation reunion and hopefully a proper finale for these characters that we've all come to know and love over the last 35 years is going to be a definite bonus for all of us in the Trek community. So what I really want to talk about today, kind of leading up to the premiere in just a few days, is we know that one of the hero ships of this season of Star Trek Picard is going to be the U.S.S. Titan A, which is supposed to be what's called a Constitution 3 class starship. And it looks very much like a Constitution class ship, and it's got the saucer section definitely looks like it came right off the original Enterprise, or the Enterprise A from the movies. So, and the rest of the body looks just like a really stylized version of what the Enterprise used to look like back in those days. So, but what's interesting about the Titan A is the producers have gone out of their way to be very specific about the main characters, basically the bridge crew that are going to be on board this ship during the season with our Next Generation and Picard heroes. So I thought I'd go over them a little bit and just kind of give my thoughts on some of the characters. So the very first character that we're going to be introduced to here is the captain of the Titan A. And the captain's name is Captain Liam Shaw. And he is described as being a former engineer with a long history within Starfleet. So that doesn't give us a whole lot of history based on what's going on with him. But they also did say, Terry Matalas said that he's a by-the-book Starfleet captain. And who knows what that means? Is he very regulation bound, or is he going to be, are we going to start to see a little bit more of like a Captain Kirk kind of come out of him, like where maybe he does start to test orders a little bit. Who knows? But anyway, he is going to be played by a gentleman named Todd Stashwick. He played on a couple different programs over the years. He played the character of Dale Mallory in The Riches, and he played a character named Deacon in the show 12 Monkeys, which he's apparently very well known for. He also has a history. He actually was in an episode of Star Trek Enterprise, the last of the Vulcan Ark. I can't remember the name. I think it's Kirshara was the name of the episode. He played the Romulan at the end, and I also think that he was probably one of the Vulcans in working with the Vulcan government at that time. So it's a nice little nod. He's got a little bit of a Star Trek connection, so we're going to get to see him a little bit. One of the pictures that they really showed of Captain Shaw was him. It looks like he's at a table eating dinner, something to that effect. But if you look at the still picture, he looks kind of like got that crazed look in his eyes. You know, like those big eyes that people sometimes get when they're starting to get out of their mind. And you might be able to see the white above his eyeball pupils, those kind of things. So I'm wondering if he's going to end up being some sort of like turning into some sort of crazy character in the end. And I'm going to kind of give you a reason about that, about why I think that to some degree at the end of this review here for these characters. The next one that's being played and being discussed for the Titan crew, actually we already know this character, is Jeri Ryan as 7 of 9. But at this point she's now Commander 7 of 9. So as we know, in the final episode of Season 2 of Picard, Admiral Picard gave 7 of 9 a field commission to basically the first officer or captain, I can't remember which one, but in Starfleet, so that she could take command of the Stargazer and save the Federation fleet faced off against the Jurati Queen's Borg vessel. So apparently she stayed in Starfleet and she rose to be the first officer of the Titan. So basically what it says here is 7 was placed into an accelerated Starfleet program against her own judgment. So what that's saying is, according to Terry Matalas, is she may not actually be comfortable completely with her role as first officer of the Titan. So we know that 7 of 9's got a lot of experience working on board a starship. She spent 4 years in the Delta Quadrant on board Voyager, so she's definitely familiar with Starfleet systems and Starfleet protocols. But after years after coming home from the Delta Quadrant and being a Fenris Ranger and kind of being on her own and following her own chain of command and protocols, maybe her going into Starfleet, maybe it was a little bit more than she expected it would be. It might be a little bit overwhelming for her at this point. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens with her as first officer. Is she going to have a lot of lapses in judgment? Is she going to come and save the day for some reason? Is she going to... How's she going to interact with the Next Generation crew in regards to being the first officer aboard the Titan? We don't know that yet, so looking forward to finding that out here as the season goes on. So the next person that I'm going to talk about as a crew member is, we're going to have what's named Lieutenant Tavine. So we finally get another Vulcan. What's a Starfleet ship without a Vulcan on board? So her name is Lieutenant Tavine, and she's the science officer of the Titan. And basically, she's highly regarded among the crew, and in actually in all of Starfleet. Basically, according to Terry Metalis, it says here, several captains fought to have her on their bridge, but the Titan won. So I'm curious to see why the Titan won out. Did the captain have some sort of pull with Starfleet that she was able to get on board that ship? Did she have some sort of pull that she wanted to get on board the Titan? Or, just may have just been luck of the draw. You never know. But I'm sure there's going to be a little bit more to it in this end. There's also a discussion in some of the reviews that I've been seeing online that, and even in the picture that you see of Lieutenant Tavine, she seems to, and even in the trailer, she seemed to have kind of like an emotional look on her face with whatever was going on in that particular moment. So is Tavine going to be somebody who's a little bit more emotional, who kind of maybe has played around with her emotions, similar to what T'Pol did in the later seasons of Enterprise, kind of trying to experience what her emotional side is like? That'll be interesting to find out. The next character that I'm going to talk about is, we're going to have a Bajoran aboard the ship, which is going to be really exciting. I know there was a Bajoran crew member on board the Stargazer last season, but there wasn't really much said about her. But this character actually has a name, and his name is Lieutenant Matthew Arliss Mora. So it's very interesting about his name because Matthew obviously is a human name. Now, maybe Matthew is somehow in Bajoran as well. But is he half Bajoran, half human, or is he fully Bajoran? According to Terry Metalis, he's apparently fully Bajoran. But who knows? These producers like to throw little curveballs and sneak things in here and there. So maybe we'll find out something about this character that we don't know, per se, about his history, his genetics. But he is serving as the ship's weapons officer, a tactical officer. And he has served aboard the Titan for approximately 3 years. So according to the character description of Lieutenant Matthew Arliss Mora he is exactly who you want at that station when you hear, "Give him everything we got." Now I'm wondering if that's, "Give him everything we got," I wonder if that's like a sly way of saying that's going to be a catchphrase of the captain or of this character or some character on board the ship. Who knows? This current era of Star Trek seems to be rife with wanting to add new little catchphrases in for some of these characters, like for Michael Burnham, "Let's fly." All right? So who knows? I'm probably just reading too much into it, but you never know what they're going to do. Again, they have a lot of little surprises that might be kind of fun to look into. But we also have noticed that there's no earring on this character. And doing research online with other areas who are reporting on this, some people are suggesting that maybe he just doesn't follow the Bajoran faith, or maybe he's following the regulations that they're not supposed to wear earrings on board a Federation starship. Who knows? We'll see. But a lot of people are also wondering how, if he has a human name of Matthew, how are they going to carry his name or discuss his name? Because as you know, in Bajoran culture, the family name is the first name, and their personal name is the second name. So what are they going to call him? Are they going to call him Lieutenant Matthew? Or are they going to call him Lieutenant Mura, Lieutenant Arliss Mora? That'll be interesting to find out, because just the way it's spelled out here, they don't have it described in any certain way. So maybe we'll find out what that's all about. Maybe they won't make a big deal about it. We'll see. The next character we're going to talk about is the communications officer on board the U.S.S. Titan, and this character is named Ensign Kova Rin Eismer. And this character is actually Halian, and if any fans out there don't remember the Halian race, I had to look it up at first because it sounded familiar, but this is actually the same race that the character of Akio Unari was in the 6th season episode of The Next Generation called Akio. So there's not a whole lot known about the Hylians except for that they have limited person-to-person empathic abilities or telepathic abilities. So this person is graduated at the top of their class. I guess this is considered a non-binary character, so that they/them pronouns are being used in the description. But apparently this character was top of their class and is well versed in over 72 alien languages. So that's quite a lot of languages that this individual should be able to speak. And this character is also played by a non-binary actor, if I remember correctly from my research, named Jin Malley. And this actor, actress, however this person is identified, has had several different guest acting spots in shows including Shameless, Rizzoli and Isles, NCIS Los Angeles, and Bones. So it'll be very interesting to see how this character develops and see if we learn a little bit more about the Hylian species. That'll be really cool to find out. And then also, the last person that we have who is identified as a bridge crew member on board the Titan is a character named Ensign Sidney LaForge. And this is, again, the helmsman of the Titan A and the daughter of Commodore Geordi LaForge. And her sister is Alondra LaForge, who became an engineer like her dad, where Sidney actually tended to follow more in Geordi's early footsteps of being the helmsman, because he was of the Enterprise D during the 1st season of The Next Generation. But anyway, Sidney LaForge is described as the daughter who didn't want to build ships like her sister Alondra. She wanted to fly them. So I can't wait to see how this character is going to work out and be a part of the LaForge legacy. I guess it could kind of be the same, like it was said about Ensign Demora Sulu in Star Trek Generations by Kirk. It wouldn't be an Enterprise without a Sulu at the helm. Well, maybe it wouldn't be the Titan without a LaForge at the helm. We'll see. It'll be interesting to find out. But this character is actually played by an actress named Ashley Sharp Chestnut. She has had spots on Broadway in shows such as A Christmas Carol and The Crucible, and she's had some guest starring roles on TV such as on Gotham and NCIS Los Angeles. But the reason why I bring that up is because the other LaForge, Alondra LaForge, is actually being played by LeVar Burton's actual biological daughter. I believe her name is Micah Burton. So I can't wait to see the interaction between LeVar Burton and his daughter and how they all interact together. I think it's going to be really, really cool. So that's really it for the crew of the Titan. Now, why do you think that I'm talking about the Titan crew? Well, I think it's very interesting that these particular crew members are actually getting a little bit of history fleshed out of them. If you think about it, there were bridge officers on board the Stargazer in Season 2 of Picard. And yes, we saw what species they were, but we didn't really hear anything about them. They didn't really have any part of the story except just kind of add exposition of what was going on in the scenes. But it's interesting that the Titan crew has these kind of starting out as well-developed characters. The reason I'm saying that is this a possibility that this could be a crew leading into a 25th century Star Trek series being spun off after Picard? Follow me on that. The reality of it is there have been a lot of rumors going back to Season 2 of Star Trek Picard when Stargazer was the main ship at that time. There were a lot of calls for a Captain Rios spin-off. But unfortunately, that's not going to happen because, as we all know, Rios got left behind because he wanted to be in the 21st century on Earth. So he's not coming back. All right. So then reports or rumors began swirling that 7 of 9 and Raffi were going to have their own spin-off. I guess with maybe 7 of 9 as captain of the Stargazer and Raffi serving as like executive officer. So I still hear a little bit about that from time to time. But now you've got a really fleshed out group here that's going to be developed. And there's no time travel involved in this one. So these characters might be involved early on in the season and progress as the season goes on. And again, set up for a potential next generation spin-off as it's being called out in social media. So maybe what will happen is, my thought earlier when I was getting back to my previous point about did Captain Liam Shaw, does he look kind of crazy in that one picture that we see of him? Could I be reading into it too much? Yes, but what if they're going to set him up to end up being some sort of, he's going to fail in some sort of way or cause problems for the mission, and 7 of 9 has to step in and take over for him. At the end of the season, she ends up being promoted to the captain of the Titan, and then Raffi comes on board, and then the rest is history. Who knows? So it's going to be very, very exciting to see how this final season of Picard pulls out, and to see what role the Titan is really going to have in terms of this storyline that's going to be going on. So that's pretty much it for my discussion here. I do want to get back really quick to a couple of the characters. I forgot to talk about the people who are playing these characters and what they've been, what shows they were in. So back to Lieutenant Tavine. So that actress is named Stephanie Jankowski, Czajkowski. I assume that that's how it's pronounced. But she's been in many different TV shows, and she's had some small roles in projects such called Call of the Wild and Breakthrough. The young gentleman who is playing Lieutenant Matthew Arlish Mura is being played by actor Joseph Lee. And he has been in certain projects, I believe a small film called Searching Lion, and he's also been in TV shows such as NCIS Los Angeles and Rizzoli and Isles. So I just wanted to make sure I got them included in there as well. So that's basically it for my review of the new U.S.S. Titan characters coming aboard. So again, we're only 3 days away as of this recording from the 3rd season premiere, the final season of Star Trek Picard. Let me know what your thoughts are about the new Titan characters, and also let me know what you think might end up happening with the Titan crew. Is this going to just be like a one-off season for them, or are we going to see them, you think, possibly moving into their own spin-off, which is why they are so explicitly spelled out for this season. You can feel free to leave comments down below. I'd love to get back to your comments. You can definitely follow the show and my channel. Just go to youtube.com, type in Pittsburgh's Trek Chat in the search engine. You can follow it there. You can follow the show on Facebook, facebook.com/Pittsburgh's Trek Chat. You can also follow the show on Twitter at PGH Trek Chat. I'm looking forward to the next episode. Until then, may yins live long and prosper.